Next, very excited to have Stephen Hand from Lloyd's Register here. Lloyd's is perhaps one of our most recent large customers to go live, and honestly, it's our biggest customer in the world from a user standpoint. So I don't know if you knew that, but you know, now you do.
When I was sitting down there, thank you. Yeah.
But it'd be a big customer for anybody. You know, 7,000 users live today. Unbelievable story. Really excited to have you here today. So thank you. And maybe everyone here is familiar with Lloyd's Register, but maybe you can just give us the brief rundown of your business and how we got here.
I wouldn't be so sure. We are Lloyd's Register. We're not Lloyd's of London. We don't insure anything. We work with our clients to help them to manage the risks of designing, constructing, and operating what we now call the major capital assets. We're 250 years old this year, and for most of that time, those capital assets have been ships. We survey and we certify around about 20% of the world's shipping fleet still, which makes us still the world's largest certifier of ships. But we've expanded in the last 20-25 years to include the risks that pertain to operating energy assets, oil rigs, gas platforms, nuclear power stations. We now operate in transportation business with particularly rail infrastructure. So we've broadened our risk management services into those areas. I think as it says there, we are around 9,500 staff. We operate in 90 different countries. We have a network of about 270 offices, although the majority of our staff rarely see a Lloyd's Register office. They're an extremely mobile group of people, as you can imagine from the business environment, the work environment that I've outlined.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. So I mean, you are the ultimate field-based organization. Your people are out on ships, on oil rigs, in the field, doing their jobs, and complex jobs, right? These are engineers. These are very knowledgeable, knowledge-based workforce.
They're naval engineers, they're metallurgists, they're chemists, they're mechanical engineers and electrical engineers, and so on.
And so how were you managing this far-flung workforce before you moved to OpenAir? How were you identifying what they were working on, how they were working?
Right, with a very manual and cumbersome process. I inherited, and our history is such that when I arrived as CIO about 8 years ago, I inherited something like 84 different operations, all of which had their own ways of working. And a lot of my time has been spent in bringing that together and integrating it and standardizing it. And the thing that was eluding us was how do we get a consistent approach to initially recording the time that those guys were spending on the work. In a sense, for its own sake, so that we knew what was going on in the organization, obviously instrumental in billing our customers, and also in understanding the extent to which those assets had been surveyed. There are obviously prescriptive rules for surveying an installation like that, and we need to know what's been done on its installation by each member of our staff. So capturing people's time was the issue that was still eluding us. What are they doing? How much of it are they doing? Where are they doing it? And what remains of the job to be completed. And so that was our challenge.
You'd built a big custom system to do that, but I'm sure for a variety of reasons, the scale of your operation probably being one of them, that maybe it wasn't working.
Well, I think the issue was that we had a fairly old-fashioned legacy system, so nobody used it, which is the usual fate of those systems, and therefore we had thousands and thousands of different spreadsheets, so completely inconsistent ways of gathering the data.
And we often talk about, and everybody runs on spreadsheets, don't get me wrong, but our view is sort of try to change things in a common system so everybody at least knows what's changed. What sort of error rate do you think that sort of Excel-based approach introduced into your world?
We were finding at our central ERP system something around 25-30% error rate, which then had to be turned around and corrected, which is obviously a very time-consuming process.
That's enormous. Interesting. So we embarked on this road probably a year and a half ago. Maybe you can talk a little, you've just gone live with OpenAir, you've got about 7,000 seats deployed. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your process for identifying how you wanted to go live and the rollout process that you've taken.
Okay, well, we went through a fairly exhaustive and exhausting selection process to find NetSuite and OpenAir. We looked at all three options: buy, build, bespoke, and commercial off-the-shelf product. We looked at 130. Well, I didn't personally, but somebody looked at about 130 off-the-shelf products, and we finished up with NetSuite and OpenAir after, as I say, a fairly time-consuming process. The reasons that we liked the look of it were really threefold. We liked the idea. This is one of our first excursions into cloud computing. We dabbled a bit with Salesforce, but not on this enterprise-wide scale. We liked the the way in which we thought we could get this thing up and running much, much more quickly than either of the two other options. So software as a service appealed in this particular business environment. So we actually went through a very similar process to the one that you've just described. We took the vanilla product, we put it in front of focus groups around the world, some using WebEx. We didn't necessarily get everybody into the same conference room. But we had some very, very productive sessions where we showed people with help, we showed people the vanilla product and said, how would you use this? What would you have to do to be able to use this? Tell us what you would need to do. How easily would you be able to take this up? And we got some very, very positive feedback from that. One of the bits of feedback that I've had from the population that we use that was they just liked the process of being engaged. They liked the process of being consulted. Even if we obviously weren't going to take everything they said and do it, but they enjoyed being involved at that end of the system rather than being told, here's the system you're going to use, now get on and use it.
So you've rolled it out. Error rate in terms of time and billing?
Well, we've rolled it out now to Asia. We decided to take the most difficult region first.
Oh, really?
So we've got 3,500, 4,000 users live in Asia. We've got, America is much smaller as a business for us, so we've got about 1,000, 1,500 users live in America. We've taken a break for the World Cup, and so we haven't, we haven't, it's our year end is actually why we've taken a break, but anyway, we haven't rolled it out in the EMEA region yet, so we've got about 4,000 to go. But error rates, so we've actually got a control group. We've got a control group still using the legacy system, and we've got new guys on who've been on there for about 3 months now. And error rates in our central system have dropped to an absolute fraction of what they were. In fact, we're hardly seeing any errors at our central system now because we can correct errors at source. The OpenAir system is obviously much more user-friendly. It's easier for our guys to use. It's therefore easier for them to get their information into the system quickly, accurately, from wherever they are.
And so the initial deployment was around time and billing, T&E. You're also looking now at expanding to things like project management.
We're piloting the resource management that you demonstrated there, and we're thinking about project management as well.
Fantastic. Well, great. It's great. Incredible story. Thank you for the business. It's an honor to have you as a customer, and it's great to see the rollout be so successful. Thanks very much.